Good morning. Welcome to the live stream. Today is Wednesday, April 1st, and oh, excuse me. It is 30 days of vanilla JavaScript day 1. I'm so excited. If you're new here, my name is Angela. I am a front-end developer and a software engineer in St. Paul, Minnesota. And on this channel, we pretty much do all vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And I decided that I wanted to go live every single day in the month of April, 30 days, and get better at JavaScript. That's just the best way I have to put it, because I've been a front-end developer for almost 13 years now, and certainly I've done I would say I've had a healthy mix of full stack projects in there. But the thing that I am constantly saying I need to improve is my vanilla JavaScript. And I say it every year, and I think I am getting better. But I would say, for the amount of experience I have as a front-end developer, I would definitely call myself very much an intermediate JavaScript user, programmer. I don't even know what to say. So this whole thing is me saying, okay, it's time to practice, because I've been streaming now for a little over a year and a half, and my skills in general as a front-end developer are like dramatically improved. And it's because I go live, up until 2026, I was going live 2 days a week. Now I'm going live 4 days a week. And just the constant starting and finishing of projects and this iterative process and tightening up my systems, it has done wonders for my skills as a front-end developer. Now it's time to dig into JavaScript. And to be clear, I am a very UI focused front-end developer. I have never used React. I've worked on projects with Bootstrap and Foundation. I have never used Tailwind. I've never built any project from scratch using a CSS library or framework. I've always rolled my own when it comes to CSS. I decided last summer I was going to move forward on personal projects using vanilla only. That was one of the best decisions I've ever made. And for over a decade, I've been a pretty loyal Sass user. And I do think that if you're working on a big project, or especially an enterprise level project, you should be using something like Sass to organize your files, certainly. But even using Sass just to create partials and organize your files, you could still write all vanilla CSS. In fact, I'm kind of in the process now with my own personal website that I rebuilt a year ago, using Sass, of refactoring my partials. So I'm just going through a couple of those partials every week and refactoring them. Honestly, my CSS is so much better now than it was even a year ago. So to refactor and pull out and to flatten all the nesting that I did and to just tighten things up, it's been really nice. It's been really nice. So that being said, here's the project. It's 30 days of vanillajavascript.com. I suppose I should go ahead and put that down in the description. I'll go ahead and stick it in the chat right now. We deployed the site yesterday. So we spent the last couple of weeks actually building out this site to basically support the project. Every day, we're going to complete a new task, a new challenge. And I did last night sit down with ChatGPT, because I did use ChatGPT to do a lot of the planning, the strategic planning, and come up with a good list of what I want these 30 days to be comprised of. So I'll let you look at that. I have the pages created for the first 5 days. My goal in the next week is to finish creating all of these pages. It's a little time consuming. It's a little tedious, but I'm going to get it done by the end of the weekend. I don't really have any rules for these 30 days. I don't have any rules for these 30 days. I would like to avoid using Copilot in VS Code. I would like to avoid copying and pasting large code blocks from ChatGPT. I think the whole point of this is to complete these challenges the way I would normally solve problems. There's nothing wrong with using GitHub Copilot. There's nothing wrong with having ChatGPT help you out with large chunks of code. I totally get that. I've done that. Certainly, if you have a job and you're crunched for time and there's pressure to get something done, for the love of God, let VS Code and GitHub Copilot help you get your work done. But for this is very much about problem solving and learning. So I'm going to do this the way I would do it if I was going to be solving problems. And if you've ever watched any of my streams, you know that that is my preferred method. I am very uncomfortable taking large chunks of code and just plooping it in there and calling it a day. It completely defeats the purpose. And I do sometimes have people come in the chat saying things like, are you aware of a thing called GitHub Copilot? Yes, of course I'm aware of it. That's not the point, right? So that being said, some of these may turn into, little struggle sessions. That's okay. I'm used to it. It's a normal part of the process. Certainly in the chat, if you all have the answer to something or you want to help me out, go ahead and stick it in the chat. I have no problem with that. Be forewarned, I may or may not take your help. I'm just letting you know, because sometimes I don't want help. Sometimes I do want help. And it's just going to be a little surprise for both of us which of those times this may be. So just setting expectations for all of us, right? So here's my best advice. Go grab a drink. Grab a snack. Enjoy the show. Just chill. Enjoy the show. Okay. We're here to have fun. Okay, so no rules. Certainly Googling in 2026 is a much different experience than Googling in 2016. Gone are the days of Stack Overflow, because Google now puts AI code snippets and explanations at the top of search results. I quite like that. That's nice. I like Googling something and having it distilled nicely at the top of search results. I'm sure the people who are working hard to optimize their content don't enjoy that. I like it. So again, what I'm not going to do is copy and paste huge code blocks or snippets into my project. I'm going to read what it has to say. I'm going to look it over, and we're going to type it out, and we're going to work it out, and we're going to figure it out. Also, on these pages that I'm creating, ChatGPT is doing a really nice job here, sort of listing out what the challenge is, what we should be doing, what the focus is, what the nice extras are. And then I specifically said I want to be able to prep ahead of time. I want to be able to read the documentation ahead of time and get an idea for what I'm going to do. So I'm definitely going to do that. And then I'm going through and actually looking up the documentation, and I'm linking everything, because once we complete our challenge at the end of the day, we are going to deploy this to 30 days of vanillajavascript.com. And I want this to live on as a resource for other people. That being said, ChatGPT did a good job of sort of listing out what the projects should be. Well, suggesting the projects, what this project should be. I didn't just copy and paste that list. I mean, I really went through it. I asked questions. I also included things that I had done in the past that I thought would be good to do again. So certainly there are things here that I've done before that I already have code for, even if it's not like exact code. It's like a framework. It's a starter, because listen, there's nothing that says as developers we have to reinvent the wheel every single time. That is just not how this works. So I will absolutely be referencing parts of my GitHub code snippets from past projects, typing that stuff out, getting it to work in this context. So as an example, social sharing buttons. We just did this on a project called Scenic. And we are absolutely going to do this again. It's not going to be exactly the same as it is on Scenic, but we have excellent starter code to make this happen for this new project. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Also, a couple of years ago, I did a GDPR cookie banner, and I've always wanted to do that on stream. So we're absolutely going to do that. And again, I have a ton of code tucked away somewhere that I have to go find, but we are absolutely going to do a GDPR cookie banner. I think that would be an awesome thing to show people how I did it. And I just think that would be so cool. Theme toggle with caching data. We just did this on the responsive video gallery project right here, where we had a night and day theme switcher. And also that we did, I think it was a local storage session cookie, something like that. So if I close this and we come back, yeah, it remembers. So certainly I've got this code tucked away, and this is, I loved doing the theme switcher. I will say that I had to spend some time afterwards tightening up the CSS and the transitions and the animations. But once I did that, I kind of got a good handle on it. So I would love to do this again, especially since our default theme for this project is basically dark. Like our default is dark, even though we're rotating these colors, right? So I think that would be really cool. What else do I have here? Transforming API data. This is a big one. This is also, ChatGPT did not include this. This is my idea because it's totally normal as front-end developers that we are massaging data from an API. Now, I was really lucky at my last job that I worked very closely with the team of developers that built the APIs. So when we were starting maybe like a brand new project or a brand new web app, I could tell them exactly how I wanted my API structured. And that is so cool. But there were plenty of legacy APIs where there was no chance in hell that they were going to take time and energy to go change a legacy API. That they were giving it to me as is, and it was up to me to massage that data and get it looking the way I needed it to look in order to work in my app. And I think that that is such an important part of front-end development that I don't see talked about quite as much. So I have something very specific in mind for this. It was like the first big web app that I built at the University of St. Thomas. We used Vue.js. So I've never used React, but I'm a pretty I've used a lot of Vue, and I've built a couple Angular full stack apps. So I have an idea of exactly what I want to do, which was like my first big app that I built at St. Thomas. And I think it's going to be really fun. So I'm excited to show you guys that. What else do we have here? Oh, intersection observer. We've done that before, where we have intersection observer so we can trigger like an animation on scroll. I thought that would be really cool. And I will also be completely honest here. I think some of these things are like fairly basic and not going to take up a full 2-hour stream. But I also think some of these things are going to be pretty challenging. And I do want to have a mix of easy things and difficult things, because I wouldn't say I'm nervous, but I would say that I'm like, oh shit, I decided I was going to stream every day for 30 days. I don't regret that decision, but I'm also just like, yeah, you did decide that you were going to do that. So let's like build in some easy days too, right? That's okay. They don't all need to be bangers. And on a personal note, listen, there's never a bad time to get a new client, but the timing of my newest client is interesting because it happened very quickly. I just picked up a new contract that starts today. It's a 90-day contract. So with like 30-day milestones. So I am also, in addition to streaming every day in the month of April, starting a brand new brand new contract, a brand new freelancing contract today as well. So it's going to be a very busy month, and I am going to need to have some easy days. But I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. So let's say hi to a couple of people, but first, one moment. Hold please. All right. Roha Chan is here. Good morning. Welcome. Roha is a mod over on Christian Codes. Christian Codes is killing it, by the way. Good morning. I'm so happy to have you here today. Monique Robinson is also here. Monique is a mod in the chat. We don't usually see Monique on during the week because she's probably a normal person with a job. But I'm so glad that she was able to come and say hello. Malik Robinson is here. Monique, not related, just a coincidence. Malik is also a mod in the chat, and I am so happy that he is here. I love you all very much. Do me a favor, if you're new here, or if you haven't yet, go ahead and like the video. I would appreciate it so much. It helps the algorithm, helps push this type of content out to more people who might be interested in front-end development. Subscribe if you're not already. I would be so happy to have you. Like I said, we are going to be here every single day this month, the month of April 2026. We're going to be working on improving our JavaScript skills. So there's that. All right, should we get started? I think we should get started. So here's the plan for today. We're going to build a button counter with increment, decrement, and reset buttons. The JavaScript focus is querySelector, addEventListener, updating text with textContent, simple state variable, conditional class changes for positive, negative, and 0. Nice extras. Disable decrement at 0. Okay. Change label color based on value. Add step buttons like +5. The MDM prep is addEventListener. TextContent, we know how to do, even I know how to do addEventListener and TextContent. I also know how to do class list. So yay. And arithmetic operators, which of course I know arithmetic operators, but you know, a nice little refresher is never a bad thing. Okay, so there's our prep items. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I just went ahead and Googled this JavaScript button counter. So I don't think this is going to take that long, although with me, anything's possible. Knock on wood, right? So let's just get started and see what happens. I will just be honest with you and tell you that I hope we get this done in about an hour-ish, because I would also like to add Prism.js. This is one of the few libraries you're going to see me use on this channel. This is for code blocks and syntax highlighting. I want to get this added to the site because I want the pages. Let's close this. I want the pages to include code blocks with the HTML, the HTML and the JavaScript. So this continues to live on as a resource for others. Dante is here, a bit late, but I'm here. Hello, everyone. Dante, you are right on time. You are exactly where you should be, and we are happy you're here. Thank you. Dante is a new, I don't know if you're a new subscriber, you're new in the chat, and very kind, thoughtful person, which we always appreciate. So we love a good chat. We love a good chat here. So, okay. Like I said, I Googled it and I like what I see here. So let's just start typing some of this stuff out. Let's just get a basic button counter going. I'm nervous. Listen, I'm nervous. The JavaScript's the hardest for me. It's the thing that is the most nerve-wracking for me. And that's just the way it is. Nothing else really bothers me. Deployment, HTML, CSS, accessibility, search engine optimization. I don't even think twice about stuff like that. JavaScript gives me anxiety. So here we go. Each folder, each day is going to have its own JavaScript file, but day one lives in the root. Should we just create, let's just create a day one. Day-1.js. So we'll give the home page its own file. I think that's fine. All right, that works. Let's move some of this stuff out of the way. Okay, so we have an ID of decrement button and an ID of increment button. I'm just going to do decrement and increment. And here's our reset. And these are all IDs, so they're get element by ID. I can handle that. So let's do a document, addEventListener. We'll do DOM content loaded. And I'm just going to put everything inside a document, addEventListener, DOM content loaded. So, and Dante says, new subscriber, new in chat, came across one of your live stream replays by happenstance, immediately hooked, someone focusing on the core of web. Count me in. That is very kind. And Dante, you are the exact type of person that I'm out here doing this for. And I don't want to get myself off track. I want to stay focused, but I love comments like this because I don't think that vanilla and the core of how the web works is getting enough attention on dev YouTube. And it's not because I'm in denial about frameworks and libraries. It's just that I don't want people to forget how the internet actually works, and that browsers naturally render HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I want to get new people hooked on a feedback loop without worrying about package managers and compilers, and just get them excited seeing their work in the browser. And I want to remind new developers and even experienced developers that a little bit of vanilla is honestly going to help them a lot when they're in their jobs. So it just is. So there's that. Okay. Angela, stop delaying. I'm going to put this down here. Okay, so we're going to start with the let count. Let count equal 0. Let means that we can reassign count. And okay, we need to get all of our buttons going. Let's do that first. So const increment equals document get element by ID, and that's increment decrement equals document get element. Whoops. Honestly, I think that I probably don't give myself enough credit, because I think that I have come a long way even in the last year. But you know, I like being good at what I do. I like being good at this stuff, and I want to be better at JavaScript. And I do think I love what I do on this channel. I love that I decided to do vanilla. But I think that I don't do as much JavaScript as I could be doing. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being UI focused, but I think I have to, I think my channel would maybe be a little more well-rounded if I was giving JavaScript a little more attention. And I genuinely want to be better at it. So, okay. So let the count be 0. And then, oh, and we need to do the count display. Got it. Which is right here. So counter value. I'm just going to call it counter. Document, get element by ID, counter value. Okay, let's see if we can do this without looking at Google. Okay, so we want to do a click event on increment, addEventListener, click so when we click it, we want the counter to go up by 1, right? And then we want to make sure that we are changing the count. No, wait, the count goes up by 1. The count goes up by 1 because we started with 0. And then the counter text content equals the count. Right? So that would mean, is this inside the event listener? I think it is because it happens, you can only click one button at a time, right? So then decrement, addEventListener, click. Means the count is going backwards. So the counter text content equals the count. So I guess I'm wondering, and I'm not looking, I'm trying to figure it out myself. I'm wondering if, okay, well, let's just see if this works. Let's just see if this works. I have some questions, but I might be getting ahead of myself. Oh, and then we need to make sure that the reset, we've got a reset button. So let's do that. Reset, addEventListener, click. We want the count, don't we want the counter to just, the counter to equal 0, right? Counter text content equals 0. No, wait. The count would equal, don't we want to reset the actual count? Not just the counter? The count equals 0, and then this equals the count. Yeah, that feels right to me. So let's see what happens. Okay. Wow. Okay. We did the first part. I did the first part. Okay. Feeling more confident. Okay, so what are the nice to haves now? Okay, so there's some more stuff to do here. Oh, we're off to a good start. This is so exciting. Okay, I love it. Okay, so let's try the first thing here. Disable decrement at 0. So I feel like we would do an if statement. So maybe like if the count is less than, I think just less than 0. No, we would want it to be only if the count is greater than 0, then go ahead and do the count. So what happens if it's not? Do we need to do an else, or does just nothing happen? So doot. Oh, so disable it at 0. So I think that means that we want to do less, greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to 0? Oh, this is weird. What just happened? Okay, so we need to make sure that we're not even doing the count. We need to make sure we're not even doing the count. So the counter is doing what it's supposed to be. Okay, that's technically, we're so close. Now you need to ensure that it cannot go into the negative. Got it. This is exciting. This is exciting. Okay. So if the count is, don't tell me, if the count is greater than or equal to 0, I would just say if the count is, I want to just do equal to 0. If no, but it can't be equal if the count is less than 0. If the count is less than 0, no, it has to be greater because we don't want it to go less than 0. If the count is greater than, should I just do -1? If the count is greater than -1. Is that right? I feel like, yeah, that's clearly not right. Let's just try greater than 0 because I think before it was greater than or equal to. Okay. Okay, so this is working now. Okay, so if the count is greater than 0, then you can go negative. And I don't think there needs to be an else, right? Because this is working. There is no else. Yeah, this is working. Okay, we did it. We did it. Okay, step 1, done. Okay, next. Change the label color based on the value. Wait, I feel like there was something else that I was supposed to do. Disable decrement at 0. So if we're disabling the decrement at 0, I feel like we actually need to disable the button and put a disable attribute on the button, right? Because doesn't button take disabled as an attribute? So MDN button disable. The Boolean disabled attribute, when present, makes the element not mutable, focusable, or even submitted with the form. So I feel like this is really important for accessibility, right? Yeah, don't need an else. Agree. Agree. I think that we should add this attribute though. And literally all you have to do is put in disabled. And there doesn't have to be a value, just disabled. So let's do that. So here's our, and we know how to do that because we know how to, so we should, I'm just going to go ahead and say that for our list here, we should go ahead and add set attribute. Yeah, that's what I think we should do. So let's go ahead and do, if we're disabling the button, move this over here. If we're going to disable the button, we want to disable the decrement button. So we're also going to so wait a second though. So I think that that's another if statement. If count is less, if the count is probably just equal to 0, right? If the count is equal to 0, then the decrement, we want to set attribute disabled. Whoops, it's a string. Disabled. And there has to be, I know there has to be a second value there, but it doesn't, there has to be quotes there, but it doesn't have to actually have a value. So I think okay, it's adding it. So I think if the count equals 0, then the decrement set attribute disabled. Let's see here. It didn't add it, so why didn't you add it? If the count, if the count decrement is the button. Oh, because it's in the event listener. That's why. So it shouldn't depend on the click. Still not adding it. Hang on. I mean, it's actually kind of interesting because it starts out as 0. Let count equals 0. If count equals 0. Oh, does this have to be this? Yes. There we go. Disabled. Christian Codes is here. Welcome. Welcome, my friend. 30 days of vanilla JavaScript. We're doing it. Okay, so now the button is disabled, which basically means that it shouldn't be able to get focus. Clearly, we've got styles here for a hover. So let's add a little CSS to account for that. Let's talk for just a moment about accessibility, since this is a good time to do this. One of the things that I did last night was I added a skip to content, a skip nav link, because we have 31 items in our navigation. And for accessibility, I mean, honestly, we should be doing this anyways. We want the user, the screen reader users, the keyboard people, we want them to be able to skip over these 31 things and to go directly to the content. So let's just demonstrate here. So if we didn't have a skip nav, the user would have to go through this whole thing because of where the navigation lives in the DOM before it even gets to any content, right? So with skip nav, you can go right to the content now. So yay us. So now we have keyboard focus in the content, and it went straight from this link to this reset button to this plus button. So that's perfect. That's what we want. But even though this button is disabled, it still has styles for a hover, even though it's disabled. So let's update our CSS to reflect that if a button has an attribute of disabled, it should not be focusable. So what is a good way to do that? So here's our button styles right here. And so honestly, I'm thinking that we can just do something like if I put it up here, I think that's not going to be specific enough. I feel like I have to put it after. Let's try it. Let's just try it. More action, less talking. So let's just do button, disabled. Oh, is disabled a... Wait a second. Is disabled a pseudo class? What? Disabled is a pseudo class. How did I not know that? Wait a second. That would make my life a lot easier. MDN disabled. It's a HTML attribute, but why is it, oh yeah, I want the CSS, disabled CSS. The disabled pseudo class represents any disabled element. How did I not know about this? An element is disabled if it can't be activated, selected, clicked on, typed into, or accept focus. The element also has an enabled state. What the frick? And you could do it, okay, should we try to do something like this? How did I not know that disabled is a pseudo class? That is amazing. Okay, this changes everything. This changes everything. Well, not really, because you could still target anything disabled just, with an attribute, because CSS takes attributes, right, as selectors. Okay, so do we want to do this up here? I kind of feel like anything that's disabled. I like this example of anything being disabled. But I feel like if I put it up here, well, but it's a pseudo class, which means this is why it's more specific than a button where you target the attribute is less specific than the pseudo class. So I do kind of feel like we could do this, and it would be probably perfectly specific. So disabled, what was the suggestion here? I kind of want to do something like, hang on. I just did this on the navigation. I want to do pointer events none. Opacity 0.5. Is that going to account for the hover state? Well, let's see. Okay, so clearly we can see that this is disabled now. What? Okay, so now we have to make sure that we're removing that disabled if it's greater than. So I think we just need another condition. We're doing it. This is so cool. Okay, so if the count equals 0, then we're going to set that. Else, decrement So are we going to do true or false, or can we just, how do we, oh, we want to remove attribute. Remove attribute. Disabled. Yeah, I feel like, don't tell me, oh, I'm so close. Maybe this does need to be a count, and maybe this needs to be after the event listeners. So it's like trickling down, right? Am I thinking about that the right way? Else, if count is greater than or equal to 0. I feel like the button needs to be, no, probably just greater than 0, right? Because we want it disabled at 0. So if it's greater than 0, but why wouldn't it just do it if it was, yeah. It's not changing. So how do I remove that attribute? Does the attribute need to be removed as a click event? Because I feel like it's entirely dependent on something changing. So it needs to be part of one of these click events, right? It probably needs to be part of all of them. So maybe this needs to be like a separate thing. Well, see, now I'm starting to think that this does need to be dependent on the decrement button, but also the reset button. Because it can't do it if it doesn't like listen for it, right? But it needs to be disabled at 0. I think I'm very close. I honestly just don't think that I need this. Yeah, I think this needs to be, if the count, I think the else is okay. I think it's this. If the count is does this need to be, do we need this twice? Like, because on page load, it's going to be 0. Okay, now it's not changing. Oh, so it probably needs to be in both. And it needs to be in the reset. Wow. So it needs to be in all of them, which makes me feel like this could just be its own function that we call inside of these things, right? Is that the efficient way to do it? which means that it could probably just be I mean, it would need to happen on page load. I can see it here. It's bugging me. So we need this to happen on page load, right? But we also need like a function. We could call it like the disabled function disabled. We could put that there. And then we could just say disabled. And we could do it again here. And then I think we could do it here. So we have to have it in all three places. Well, and I don't think we need to even do an if statement here, right? Because on page load, it's 0. Because that's literally, it's just 0. So let's just make sure that we're setting the attribute. Although we could just set the attribute manually in the HTML, right? On page load, it's disabled. Or does that defeat the purpose of the challenge? I'm going to keep it in. I'm going to keep it in. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. I think I did it. And Caffeine Cowboy says maybe a switch case to handle everything. Whoa. Aggressive. Switch case. Yes, I know what that is. However, baby steps, my friends. Baby steps. Baby steps. But you are not wrong. I like this. Is it okay if I like this? I kind of like this. Okay, this is so fun. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Okay. Give me some time to work up to things like switch cases, okay? Okay, what's next? Change the label color based on the value. I don't even know what that means. I have no idea what that means. Hold, please. Okay, so change the label color based on value. So to me, that kind of means, I mean, I guess that means that we could change the label color. How about if we change the label color every 3 steps? So like we start at 0, so it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, unlike HTML, the great and frustrating part about JavaScript is there are a ton of ways to do almost anything. Agreed. I mean, I'll just be perfectly honest. I do. One of the things that kind of worries me or gives me anxiety about doing a lot of JavaScript on the live stream is that there's definitely a way that I do things that I'm very comfortable with. My anxiety is that somebody more experienced is going to look at my code and like call me an amateur. Right? Which is the dumbest thing in the world to have anxiety about, because if it was anything else, HTML hello, vanilla CSS. I mean, is there any more reason for somebody to call me an amateur than for preferring vanilla CSS? Do I give a shit? No, I will die on that hill. I love vanilla CSS. But when it comes to JavaScript, my one of my greatest fears is that somebody's going to look at my code and be like, "You are an amateur. Who do you think you are? You have no business doing this work." It just gives me so much anxiety. And I am not at all implying that that's what you're saying, because Caffeine Cowboy, you are awesome. I love having you here. So I just have to do things the way that it makes me feel comfortable. And the whole point of this is to build my skills and to gain more confidence and to like level up a little bit. That's the whole point of this. And I can only do it the way that I know how to do it. Yeah, you're cool. We love you. We love you. No worries. And I love the suggestions in the chat. Like I said, I may take them, I may not take them. So, okay, but I'm having fun, so let's keep going. This is amazing. So, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Okay, so how do we want to do this? Well, let's combine a couple of these steps here, because this also says add step buttons like +5. So what if we changed the label color based on the value every 5 steps? So since we start at 0, though, that can get weird, because I think I read that and I think of 5, 10, 15, 20. That means that the first step would be 6, and then it would be every 5 steps. Am I understanding that correctly? Well, although we start at 0, but it's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5 clicks because we start at 0. So maybe I'm overthinking that. Yeah, maybe I'm overthinking that. Okay, next question. Do we want to add buttons? So do we want to be able to go up and down by 1 and then make additional buttons to go up and down by 5? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that we should just change our count to increase or decrease by 5. So what's the best way to do that? So count plus plus is 1. Can I do count plus 5? Is that the right way to, I don't know. Is that the right way to do it? Arithmetic operators. Okay, so, okay, right here. Excuse me. Increment. Unary operator adds 1 to its operand if used as a prefix operator. ++ x returns the value of its operand after adding 1. If used as a postfix operator, returns the value of its operand before adding 1. If used as a prefix, returns the value of its operand after adding 1. If x is 3, then ++ x sets x to 4 and returns 4, whereas x++ returns 3 and only then sets x to 4. Okay. Yeah, I think this is a great philosophy. Dante says, my philosophy is, this is my code. This is what I understand so far. It makes sense to me. It works. I can always improve. We're all in alignment. This is why my anxiety is completely unfounded. So, okay, so I think what we probably returns the integer remainder of dividing the two operands. I think we just need to do like count ++ count plus plus times 5. And then count minus minus times 5. Is that, I don't know. No, of course that doesn't work. So so it should be count plus plus. I feel like this should be so we want to do the count times 5. I feel like this is basic. Count plus plus times 5. That doesn't work. Wouldn't it be nice if that worked? Angela, you don't know how to multiply in JavaScript? Stop. Okay. Let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. Maybe it'll be here someplace. No, these are all of the, oh, right here. So it's whatever the count is. So count plus plus, which means then it would be, so we have to do it first, and then it would be the count times 5. Or maybe the text content is just the count times 5. Same here, the count times 5. Wouldn't it be nice if that worked? What? Stop it. Stop it. Okay. We did it. Wow. Okay, cool. So what's the last thing? So we got our step buttons. Change the label color based on the value. Well, I feel like we can do that. So we're just going to do it like a class list add. So I feel like we should do, so if we're starting with a count of 0, we have our default value of white. So what colors do we want to do? They need to be accessible. So I feel like we could just do if count. So if count equals 5. So what's our label? So our label is, oh, right here, counter label. Okay. I'll just say label equals document querySelector, the counter label. So if the count equals 5, then we're going to do label class list add, I don't know, pink. We'll just add a class, and then we'll style. And then we could do else if count equals 10, label class list add pink. Should we just go ahead and do our colors that we have? You know what else we might want to do is we might want to check the body class because we have different colors on the pages. So let's do that too. So let's define the body equal, oops, const body equals document dot body. So I think we would want to say if count equals 5. Oh, this is going to get, this could get messy, but that's okay. If count equals 5 and body dot class list contains teal, we'll start with teal, then we want to change it to pink, and if the count is 10, we'll change it to navy. This could get messy. I don't think we should do this because it's going to be a ton, because then we have to do this for every single color and every combination. So I think we should not do this and make it a little more generic. So let's just do like black. Class list add black. And then if the count equals 10, class list add, I don't know, because I'm thinking about now accessibility. Then we'll go back to white. Class list, how about class list remove? We'll do that, remove black. And then we'll just do another one. Else if count equals 15, label class list add. What do we want to add now? We'll just maybe we'll just alternate. The whole point is to change the label color. So let's just alternate black. So we'll just see this alternate. We should try to do something where it's just, oh, maybe the upper, maybe we could do a remainder, returns the integer remainder of dividing. Okay, well, let's just start with this before we get too confused. And then let's make sure that we have some styles. Well, let's make sure it works, and then we can write some styles. So we'll inspect. Here's our counter label. So as we increase, okay, did I get this wrong? I might have gotten it wrong. Counter label, document query selector, counter label. Oh, it's probably going to have to be on click, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So let's do function, change color, and then we can put this. So we don't want anything to happen on page load. We want everything to be the default state. So now I would expect to see black. No. If count equals 5. Okay. I keep feeling like I must have spelled it wrong. Counter label, const label, document query selector, counter label. No, I didn't spell it wrong. label, class list, add black. Oh, this is a good suggestion. Maybe just for even odd. I want to get this working first. I feel like we could do any combination and it wouldn't matter, but this feels like feels basic, like this at least needs to be working. I mean, does this need to be maybe, no, if it's on, it doesn't matter if it's on page load if this is working, because the count on page load is 0. So this should just be adding a class to something. We do that all the time. I do that all the time. That's like, I know that's basic. Document, query selector, counter, label. I keep thinking I spelled it wrong. Did I spell this wrong? COUNTER underscore label. Good grief. Start basic. Okay. Didn't spell it wrong. Let's just do this. Start basic. Can you even give me the count? It should be on page load 0, but we're not going to see it until we actually click, right? Okay. So, oh, well, so even though the label is the count is changing times 5, the count isn't really what it is. This count, we click once, we get a count of 1. We're changing the counter, but that's not really what the count is. The count, it's not really what the value is. That's why. So do I need to do count times 5 first? Equals, oh my gosh, count equals count times 5, and then the count equals the count times 5, and then this is the count. How much you want to bet? The count equals the count times 5. Okay, aggressive, but we're close. So what's this multiple? 5, 30, 100. Okay. We have some counting to do. We have some more counting to do. I knew that was too easy. I knew that was going to be too easy. So the count equals the count times 5. And then it's doing it this is, but 5 times, I would expect it, if it was going to be off, to be 25. I'm here for it. Well, can we at least see our, yeah, black? It's interesting. It's not resetting it. What's the console log when we reset? 0. Oh, but I don't have anything for 0. That's why. Well, let's at least put in I'm here for it. I mean, let's at least get this working. Oh, I knew that was going to be too easy. So we should at least see this now. Black. And then reset. Okay, that's working. Okay, Caffeine Cowboy says, when you call count plus plus, it adds 1. 5 times 5 equals 5. Then 5 plus 1 equals 6. And 6 times 5 equals 30. Okay, this is an excellent hint. When you call count plus plus, it adds 1. This is the, okay, so this is the perfect type of hint because you didn't tell me how to do it. You just told me what was happening. Okay. Yeah, we want 1 times 5. Well, we want, yeah. When you call, so I think that means we want, I think now what we just read maybe makes a little more sense. Let's try this. I mean, it's still going to be, we still have something, we still have math to do, but I think this will, nope, that's still not working. Hang on. And now I want a console log. Wait, I want to console log this. Two and 10, 12 and this is confusing. Now I'm confused. I don't need that. And I don't need this. Too many console logs. Okay. 2, 12, 62. Yeah. I see what's happening here. Both are both math functions necessary? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm going to figure it out though. So the only console log that I have right now is this one. And I don't want it to be plus plus before. I want it to be after. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's doing this. That's why it's doing this twice. It's because I have it here twice. Okay, first things first. Okay, now I'm gonna put it here. Now I want to see what it does there. I'm expecting it to be, yeah, okay. So we want count times 5, but then it's just multiplying against itself. So hang on, let me think about this. It's almost like we have to reset it. If it's count times 5, then we take the count and we're only doubling it, not timesing it again. Because when you call count plus plus, it adds 1. 5 times 5 equals 5. Then 5 plus 1 equals 6. And 6 times 5 equals 30. So really what we want to do, we don't want to keep multiplying, we want to keep adding. But we want to make sure that we're not adding that 1. Well, let's at least start with this. Okay. Yeah, I think I figured it out. We want plus, not 5. And I think that we want 4. We did it. It's 4. You add 4 because it's already adding 1. And I think this is the same. So it's not multiplying, it's adding. But hang on, I'm not done yet. Let's add this console log in here. Okay, so I'm going to actually put a note in here because Caffeine Cowboy to the rescue. So let's just put a little note in here. When you call count plus plus, it adds 1. So 5 times 5 equals 5. Then 5 plus 1 equals 6. And 6 times 5 equals 30. So I'm actually going to modify this a little bit. When you call count plus plus, it adds 1. So then 5 times 5, we're going to say 5 plus 5 equals 5. Then 5 plus 1 equals 6. And 6 times 6 plus 5 equals 11. Instead, I want to do, hang on, 1 plus 5 equals, it adds 1. 5 plus 1 equals 6, and 6 plus 5 equals 11. Instead, call count plus plus and add 4. Four plus 1 equals 5. And, well, this is not the right logic, though. I'm just going to leave this note here because this is ultimately what helped me come to this conclusion. Oh, you meant 1 times 5, not 5 times 5. One times 5 equals 5. Then 5 plus 1 equals 6. And 6 times 5 equals 30. Credit to Caffeine Cowboy 666 in the chat. I'm just going to leave this note here and leave it at that. So there's an explanation. But this works. One plus 4 equals 5. 5 plus 1 equals 6. 6 plus 4 equals 10, etc. This is my logic. And then it would be the same here. 1 plus 4 equals 5. 5 plus 1 equals 6. 6 plus 4 equals 10, etc. So for this, it would be, I'm just not going to put anything else here. So we have the correct count now. We have a proper we have a count, we have a proper step. Let's console log this as well. Yeah. There is a much easier way if you just use one of your math functions. You're forcing me. You're forcing me. Yeah, probably. Are you telling me to do this? The remainder? Binary operator returns the integer remainder of dividing the two operands. Exponentiation operator calculates the base to the exponent power that is base, so 2 to the third. I don't think this is it. Unary plus. Attempts to convert the operand to a number if it is not already. Unary negation. Unary operator returns the negation of its operand. If x is 3, then negative x returns 3. I don't think that's it. Arithmetic operators. In addition, okay, I learned arithmetic in elementary school. Okay, yeah. Okay, don't tell me. Hang on. Hang on. We're going to do this. Okay. An arithmetic operator takes numerical values, either literals or variables, as their operands and returns a single numerical value, blah, blah, blah. The standard arithmetic operators are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. These operators work as they do most in other programming languages. Okay. So do we want the count plus, do we just want to do the count plus 1? The count equals the count plus 1. Wait. I understand why, don't tell me. I told you it was going to be a struggle session. The count equals the count plus 4. I can understand why we would want to use an operator. Why this is supposed to be easier. Because if it's supposed to step by 5, then you wouldn't use 4. I can see why that doesn't make sense. And why this needs to be cleaned up. I cannot immediately think of what the solution is, though. So just give me a minute. If I would just use one of my operators. And this literally just says, well, but I got the link to this. ChatGPT didn't give me the link to this. So did I get the wrong one? When I see it, you'll be like, oh my God. I'm looking forward to that feeling. Is it on this page? Am I on the right page? It's not a comparison operator. It's an arithmetic operator. Okay, I have to read this again. When you call count plus plus, it adds 1. It's in my code already. You are 99% of the way there. Okay. Oh, is it? Well, I think this is... Oh, wait a second. Well, I can see here that this is not consistent. That I have minus minus here and plus plus here. What could you eliminate and then change to make it one line? What could I eliminate and then change to make it one line? Probably this. I think this. Oh, because count and then count. Wait. Count plus plus 5? Wait. Count. There's a lot of pluses on the page here. Adds 1 to its count plus, just count plus 5? Wait, this? Count plus 5. No, hang on. Count plus 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 5. That just looks weird to me, but is that right? No. Hang on, let me figure it out. I feel like I'm almost there. Oh, wait a second. Is it count equals count plus plus? Oh, I'm close. Count plus 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 5. There we go. Okay. Because we're starting at 0, right? We're starting at 0, and then we're adding this. Kind of makes sense. Okay, I think this is it. Count equals count minus 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 5. I think this is it. Because we're starting with 0. That's not working. This is working. Oh, this is working probably. It's just not console logging. So I think, is this it? I feel like we eliminated a line, so this makes sense to me at least. This makes sense to me. Count equals count. You can always make it just count equals count plus 5. You can always make it count equals count plus 5. Oh. Yeah, that works too. Let's call it good. I'm going to call it here. I'm going to call it here. I think we can take out this console log. Whew, we did it. We did it. I'm happy with this. This makes sense to me. This makes sense to me. Okay, good. See, I think that the delay is about 20 seconds. And I do not put a delay on my streams. So there's just a natural YouTube delay of about 20 seconds. So, but I'm good with this. I'm good with this. This all makes sense to me. And I'm going to leave this here because I think this is a good explanation for what I was doing previously. And it helps understand why this is the way it is. So, but I'm good with this. Okay, so now let's deal with our changing the label color. I also think that we could probably, honestly, I'm just going to change color this way. I want to still add prism, and I want to get this button drama wrapped up. Boy, if the button took this long, although I was pretty chatty at the beginning today. If the button took this long, I'm a little worried about the remaining challenges. But honestly, this was such a great warm-up. This was an excellent warm-up. I am enjoying this very much. So now let's just make sure that we are changing color the way we are adding our class. So here's our label counter. Nice. Look at that. Yeah. So now we can just write a little CSS to change the label black. So where is our label? Button styles are here. Here's our buttons. I feel like I have form styles someplace. Well, we also have counter section. So we'll put it right here. So we're going to do label, counter label. If it's black, we're going to change the color to black. Oh, that's interesting. We have to remove it again. We do need to remove it again. So let's do that. Where are you? Oh, wrong one. And then maybe just do else label class list remove. Black. Beautiful. We did it. We did it. I'm happy with this. This is successful. This is a successful day one. So, okay, so what I really want to spend the remaining time doing, and this is going to go probably over 2 hours today, just because I want to make sure that we get Prism added, because I want to make sure that I'm including this code and the markup for the section. I want really, I want this right here. I also want this included on the page. This is important to me as part of the project, that you don't just come here and see this and see the counter and the things working, but that you actually see the code as well. So that is why I want to add, Prism. So we're going to do that now. And Rumi is here and says, I'm a little bit late. Please give me an overview of today. Well, I am going to suggest that you watch the replay. So, day one, we did a button counter. Thank you, Malik. I appreciate that. The replay is always available. You can always go back and start from the beginning and watch the replay. I'm happy to give you all a link. Happy to give you all a link to the site. We don't have this pushed up yet, but I'll go ahead and share the link anyways. So once that's pushed up, you will be able to see everything completed. So let's go ahead and add Prism and get our code blocks in here. And then we're going to be done for today. What do we got going on tomorrow? Character count and text area limit. I can do it. I'm up for it. I have to say, in general, so far, the button counter was the perfect first project. So I'm very happy. Let's see here. Okay, so if we do download, okay, so I want the default theme. I want the languages to support JavaScript. I don't know what C-like is. Oh, I guess we need that. Okay. CSS. Okay, so we'll just include these things. I'm not planning to put CSS on these pages. We'll include it just for the heck of it. So we've got basically markup and JavaScript. I don't think there's anything else here. So we'll download the JavaScript. And we'll just put it in the root. And it would be nice to not load all of these files separately, but let's see what we end up with here. Okay, so Prism.js. I mean, it's not that much, so we can just link. Well, but I don't want to link to Prism on every single page. Be would be nice to not have to link to Prism on every single page. So should we just put it at the top? Yeah, we'll just put it at the top. That's fine. Then we don't have to link to it. So it'll just be here if somebody wants to see it. So I don't have to add this now as a script to every single page. I think that's the best way to go. And then where's our CSS? Same with the CSS. Just going to stick it in the CSS file. Well, for the CSS though, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to put it at the end. We can put it at the end. That is perfectly fine. I think what was it that we did the last time? We did something here. I don't remember what it was. We changed a couple of things. No big deal. We'll come back and deal with this. Let's go ahead and we have it added now. So let's just go ahead and add our code block. Well, here's our JavaScript. Here's our markup. So here's, if you haven't ever added code blocks to a page before, it can be a little weird. The markup part of this can be a little bit weird. So let's add another section with the class of section. And then I think we want to do, what does the documentation say? I think the documentation says to do so let's just look in the inspector here. So I think we want to do a pre-code block with the class of language-html. And then, oh, and they also do a code. So they do pre and code. See, code is an inline element. So I've always been confused about why they do that. So they do pre and code with the language.html. Okay, so we'll do pre language HTML code language HTML. And then we're going to put in our block. But here's the problem. The browser is going to actually render this, and we don't want it to render it. We want it to just display it as code. So we have to take one of our entities. I'm going to take the less than entity, and we have to change it to literally and LT semicolon. So let's just go ahead. I'm just going to select these once we get down to that last div right there. And I'm going to say and LT, whoops, and LT. So we're doing the less than entity to display the character but not render the code. And we're going to have to, you only have to do this with markup. We also have the very tedious task of doing our own indentation, which is not the end of the world. So we're very close here. So I think the thing that we changed last time was this in our CSS. No problemo. So I think we want to change, it was the tab size to 0. There, beautiful. Do you see why I wanted to do this? I love being able to put in a nice code block, especially on a really helpful. The whole point of this is to be educational, right? That's the whole point of this. So we'll put in an H2 and we'll say the HTML. And then this is the tedious part where we have to do our own indenting. That only really happens with the markup. It can be a pain in the ass. Oh, and it, how did I get it to, how did I force it before? I don't remember. I just did this. Oh, I had to do non-breaking spaces. I had to do non-breaking spaces. Yeah, this is going to be a pain in the ass, but it's okay. So maybe I'll do this afterwards. I won't put you through this. Well, let's just get our next code block in, and then I will put you through this. But let's just get our JavaScript in. So we'll do, and you do not have to do this for the JavaScript. So we'll do a section with the class of section, and we'll go ahead and do pre with the class of language, HTML, and then code, language. Oh, and it's not HTML, it's JavaScript. I think. I don't know if it's JS or script or JavaScript. It's probably JavaScript, right? And then I'm going to copy the whole thing in. And I'm going to have to add some spaces here as well. Will it preserve? Do I have to add the... Yeah. So this is going to be a little easier. It's just, whoops, it's just going to be easier to see because I don't have those entities. So I'm going to do and NB SP and NB SP. That'll give us a little bit of syntax highlighting so that you can see there. Whoops. And we'll put in a header. And we'll get everything pushed. And yes, I am going to make you sit and watch me do this. It's part of the process. So we'll say the JavaScript. And then as far as the CSS is concerned, if we had to include any CSS, because we are doing a class list to add and remove, I mean, there's definitely CSS involved here because we're adding and removing classes. But I have to say I'm more inclined to just let people go look at the CSS and to not include a code block for CSS. I'm more inclined to just include code blocks for the markup and the JavaScript and let people find the CSS on their own. I feel like I cannot spoon feed every single thing. I will need the user to be a little bit proactive. That's my thinking. So, okay, and I think I also would like there to, do I care about wrapping for these SVGs? I don't know, maybe not. Okay, let's finish doing our indenting here. So this is done. I'm going to say that this is done. We just need to get this tidied up. So I'm just going to copy this to my clipboard. We've got function disabled. Okay, that looks good. Take it easy, Heidi. It's a little tedious, but it looks really good when it's done. It's totally worth it. Yep, this looks good. Oops. What are you doing? Yep, that looks good. I think there, just like that. And then I'm off by one. Oh, I think I need to add you know what? I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm not going to indent these, but I will add a space here. Okay, so I think technically these could all be indented, but I'm cheating a little bit. I think that could go back in one. All right, I love it. I love it. And you know, the great thing about this is that anybody who wants to, you want to come along, use the code, clean it up, make it more efficient, go for it, man. Open source. It's here for everybody. All right, so let's do a little indenting here. So you know what? Maybe this is a task for ChatGPT. Maybe this is something I could ask ChatGPT to do. So, yeah. Can you add non-breaking spaces for indentation for my code block? AI is an excellent tool, right? Yep. Okay, good. This works for display, like, yeah, I know. Okay, interesting. I am using pre and Prism JS. I still need to use and NBSP because VS Code will not indent. Yeah, and you're not wrong. When you paste HTML entities like and LT div into VS Code, the editor treats it as plain text, not real HTML. Auto indent doesn't kick in because there's no actual DOM structure. I feel like I've been down this road before. Pre-preserves white space, but it won't create it for you, so you're stuck manually formatting the string. Better options so you don't fight this every time. Stop using NBSP, use real indentation instead. This does not work. As long as those are real spaces or tabs, Prism will render them correctly. Stop it. Okay, I understand that, but VS Code is flattening it. Let VS Code indent it for you. Quick workaround. Since VS Code won't indent entities, do this. Temporarily convert entities to real HTML. But as soon as I save, wait, stop. That doesn't work. Use the Emmet trick fastest. Paste real HTML format, then wrap escape after. Or use command palette, Emmet wrap with abbreviation, then escape after formatting. Okay. You're missing the point. VS Code removes the indents on save every time. Right. Then the issue is not Prism or the issue is with VS Code stripping leading white space in that. If VS Code is removing the indentation, yeah, I know. Okay. If you want to stop VS Code from doing this, this is usually one of these. Files, trim trail length whitespace true. Editor, format on save true. HTML, format, preserve new lines. But if your escaped code lives inside normal HTML markup, formatters can still collapse or reflow the text depending on context. The most reliable approach, keep the escaped example in its own pre-code block, use and non-breaking space for leading indentation, avoid formatting that section automatically. Or disable format on save for that file if it keeps mangling examples. We can use the NBSP because I don't think it's that big of a deal. So we're just going to use it. It's not ideal, but it's fine. There it is. I'm going to ask it to do this. I'm going to ask it to do the JavaScript too. Please check the JS2. I'm fine with NBSP. It looks great. Nothing is ever perfect. Oh my God, stop. That's not what I asked you to do. Stop. I did not ask you to refactor my code. I asked you to help with the formatting for the code block. Okay, but now I'm curious. Yeah, okay. It works, but the name is a little muddy because, okay, so you don't like my name. What I'd clean up, that second argument does nothing. It should just be, okay, fine. Nothing is technically wrong. Okay, so here's our HTML. This all looks right. And here's our JavaScript. Everything is nicely formatted. I thought you had to have the second attribute in here. I mean, I feel like we ran into that once before. It had to be an empty string because you have to have both values. Or set attribute and remove attribute don't work. I like what we came up with. So let's go ahead and commit this, and let's go ahead and push this up to, we'll go ahead and deploy this. So looking at our QA list, this is going to be a task. So this is like, I think day 11. Day 11. This is done. And now this is done. And we're just going to use ChatGPT to format our code blocks. I'm completely fine with that. Okay. Kind of thinking about just deleting both of these since we copied them into our main files. All right, let's go ahead and commit, and then we will deploy. So this is the day 1 button counter and Prism.js. Git push origin main. All right. And then let's open up FileZilla. We did our deployment yesterday, so this is ready to go. We'll log in using FTP and SSH. We're going to go to var www HTML, and we're going to update day 2. No, it's not day 2. It's day 1. We're adding day 1. We're updating index.html. We're updating script.js because we added the Prism to script.js and style.css. And we'll obviously QA and make sure we didn't miss anything. So we'll go ahead and override. And one moment, please. Okay, so we deployed. Let's actually check. Give it a little refresh. Yeah, it looks like everything's here. So let's see. I love it. Everything's working. So here's our HTML. Here's our JavaScript. So I feel like I should maybe make a note about checking the repository. But you know what? I have the repository linked clearly up here. So if people want to come check the repo, look at the CSS, they can. I can only spoon feed so much, right? I feel like overall I came up with a great format and a great strategy for completing these challenges. I had an absolute blast doing this. I love that we're able to like present the information in the code for anybody in the future, right? I have no doubt that people are going to come here and see this and find more efficient ways to write the JavaScript. Wonderful. Terrific. Yeah, I love it. I had a blast today. This was super fun. This was so fun. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Caffeine Cowboy, you're amazing. Love your help. Love the I don't know, the spirit in which the help was provided. I really enjoyed this. So, Rumi says, I know the not operator inverts Boolean values. Right. So like an exclamation point, right? But in which real world scenario is it commonly used? And why is it important? First finish this project, then reply. Yeah, GPT behaves like a child. I don't exactly know how to answer this question off the top of my head because first of all, the kind of one of the reasons I'm here is to have a deeper understanding maybe of questions exactly like this. The question also feels a little, I don't have context. I think this question is too broad for me to answer. I think if you stick around and hang out and continue to come this month, I think there will probably be lots of opportunities to use the not operator. And in the context of completing the challenges, it will be easier to understand it. Right now, the question just feels a little bit broad to me. So I apologize that I don't have enough context around your situation or why you're asking it. I mean, hang out. Just keep hanging out, and we're going to figure out stuff like this together, okay? I know, Rumi, that you're looking for ways to improve your skills as well, just like I'm looking for ways to improve my skills. And I'm telling you right now, the best way to do that is with project-based learning, exactly like this. So these are clearly like little mini projects, right? And like Caffeine Cowboy says, with JavaScript in particular, or with any object-oriented programming language, I do consider JavaScript to be object-oriented. There are many ways to complete a task, right? So let's just hang out and keep working on stuff like this. And Caffeine Cowboy says, helps me to watch and help lead without giving an answer. Yeah, I don't always want the answer. I don't want to frustrate people, but I also don't always want the answer. But sometimes a little hint is kind of nice, right? We like hints. And I'm getting better in my prompts on ChatGPT also of saying, I don't want the answer, but this is what I'm doing. Can you give me a hint? And I think it was really a great idea to tell ChatGPT that my strategy for completing these tasks is that I want to be able to read documentation ahead of time. So it very specifically gave me a section called MDN prep, and I just think that that was beautiful. It was such a good way to do it. So, yay! Day 1 complete. We did it. Okay, so tomorrow, character count text area limit. I have no doubt it's going to be wildly exciting. Hey, do me a favor. If you haven't yet, would you be so kind as to like this video? It helps the algorithm, helps push this type of content out to more people who might be interested in this type of thing. Subscribe if you're not already. I'm generally here 4 days a week, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. For the month of April, however, we have just now today completed day 1 of 30 Days of Vanilla JavaScript. This was my little idea to stream more, practice my JavaScript skills more, and get more comfortable with JavaScript. I'm a very UI-focused developer, very comfortable with HTML and CSS and accessibility and SEO, search engine optimization. I think I'm a good strategist and project planner, if I do say so myself, but I've never been a confident JavaScript user. So this is my attempt to just get better, because my philosophy is if you want to get better at something, you need to do it. You need to practice, right? So come back tomorrow and hang out with us. We're going to work on the next day 2, character count, text area limit. Should we look ahead here? Look at those color changes. I'm telling you. Look at those color changes. Okay, so character count text area limit created text area that updates a live character count as the user types. So I feel like we can do that. Input event reading value string length live DOM updates. Nice extras. Warning style near the limit. Hard character max. Remaining characters instead of a count count. So our MDN prep is going to be the input event, HTML text area element value, okay, string length, the string.length property. That's a property, right? It's not a method, it's a property. And set attribute. See, set attribute has to have a value or it doesn't work, I thought. You have to have both. Wait. The set attribute method of the element interface sets the value of an attribute on the spec. If the attribute already exists, the value is updated. Otherwise, the new attribute is added, blah, blah, blah. Value. A trusted type or string containing the value to assign to the attribute. It doesn't say that it's required, but I guess this method can take attribute values that are parsed as HTML, a script, or as you can, okay, it's not really, it doesn't say it's required, but I guess I thought it was for some reason. Okay, well, anyways, I feel like this is a natural building upon what we did today. So, okay, Angela, you're talking too much. Everybody, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I love you all. You're amazing. Come back tomorrow. We're going to get better at JavaScript. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are, and I will see you tomorrow. Mwah. Bye.